All right, welcome to today's show. I'm going to go into right now how I personally invest and my allocations of what percentage I have in Microstrategy, what percentage I have in Bitcoin, what percentage I have as well in Tesla, and then what percentage I have in sort of a leveraged form of Microstrategy called MSTU, which is aimed at getting 2x to the returns of MicroStrategy. So I'm going to walk you through like my different allocations, and that way you can see how I've personally invested, how I personally make choices. I'm also going to share with you the time horizon of when I made these decisions. So when did I first start investing in Bitcoin? When did I first start investing in MicroStrategy? And then I'm going to tell you how I would look at it today if I were investing like freshly and newly into these assets. Okay. So first and foremost, there's 4 different things I want to look at with you today. Okay. Number 1, we're going to look at Bitcoin. All right. Number 2, we're going to look at MicroStrategy. Number 3, we're going to look at MSTU, which is a 2x version of MicroStrategy. It's a fund that aims to get 2x the return that MicroStrategy does. Okay. So we're going to look at that. And then finally, we're going to look at some long-term just investing that I'm doing in terms of holding Tesla from a long-term viewpoint as well. Okay. So I want to just take you back. And then if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. But I want to take you back at how I made these decisions and how I decided to invest in Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, the 2x version of MicroStrategy, and also Tesla. And then how I'm looking at it going forward. In terms of like when I may sell and take profits on my gains. And then additionally, how I would look at it right now if I was going to invest totally brand new into MicroStrategy or Bitcoin, like many of my friends who call me all the time to ask me, when should I buy? When should I buy? Now, this is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. So just full disclaimer on that. No legal advice here whatsoever, no tax advice, none of that. Okay. So it's just my personal opinion and you can take it for what it's worth. Okay. So basically, my basic portfolio when I started investing and getting into crypto in 2018, I started buying into Bitcoin very early on when it was at $3,000. Okay. And so this is my 3rd bull run. First one I kind of observed through it, bought in 2018 in the crash of the bull run that happened in 2017. So I bought low, sat through the whole 2020 bull run, watched Bitcoin go all the way up, was buying, started buying heavily at, $8,000 or $9,000 during that bull run, started buying consistently all the way up and then watched it drop all the way down, took some profits, but held on to a big portion of my Bitcoin. And then in 2023, I made another significant allocation when Bitcoin was at about $30,000 and dumped a whole bunch more in. So I've been in Bitcoin very early. And so if I'm looking at Bitcoin now in a new unit of time, my price prediction to answer your question for Bitcoin for MicroStrategy in 2025, I'll give you my conservative. My conservative is 700. My bullish is 1,000 to 1,300. Okay. I don't see a world where it doesn't get to 700. That's just my viewpoint. Okay. Considering the fact that MicroStrategy in 2024 in its after hours height was at $530. So I don't see, with all the regulations coming in, which is a good thing, with the digital stockpile that the U.S. is going to create, which is a great thing, with 15 states now, 15 that are basically saying, hey, we want to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. 15 of them now. It was 10 a week and a half ago, or 11. Now it's 15. So the number of states in the United States that are going to be pouring into this, the U.S. government that's going to be adopting some type of stockpile, the regulations coming in. We know that the SAB 121 Act that was just passed that now allows banks to custody Bitcoin and offer up products related to it. is exciting. So there's so many good things that just came in. And with MicroStrategy continuing to buy in 2025, they also just came out with their new announcement of Strike STRK, which is the preferred stock that they're offering up in the marketplace. Basically, what that means is people who own that are going to get dividends. And then if the company ever goes under, the people with the preferred stock will get their money back. Those of us who own common stock, that doesn't apply to us. But they're coming out with this new product called STRK, so that's coming out as well. So there's so much new stuff that's coming out in terms of good news around Bitcoin. And of course, we know that MicroStrategy will benefit as a result of good news around Bitcoin and crypto because of their holdings in terms of Bitcoin. I think they hold around 471,000 Bitcoin at this point. So the bullish outlook, to answer your question, Liello, who's asking, what do I think is going to happen with MicroStrategy in terms of 2025? That's my answer. Tomorrow, I'm doing a show with my friend John Lee Dumas, who you've probably seen MicroStrategy today. Is his channel. It's a really great channel. We're going to do an interview. We're going to talk about our price predictions and why we think it's going to hit that. He's going to have his own price prediction. I'll have mine, and we'll give you our reasoning and our logic behind it to back it up. But to answer your question in advance, that's what. Do I think we're going to see MicroStrategy at 200 again in the next 6 months? No. Could it happen where we zoom up in 2025 and we hit 700, 800, 1,000, 1,300, and then we drop down to 200? Totally possible. Okay. So back to the point. So I started investing in Bitcoin. Okay. So I've been investing in Bitcoin since early 2018, like January of 2018. I even owned mining equipment in 2018. So now it's what? 6 years I've been in the asset. Okay. I also invested some money in MicroStrategy in 2020. Okay. And the bulk of my investments in MicroStrategy has been in 2024 of February. So the stock price was super low in 2024. So my ROI has been extremely good on Bitcoin, extremely good on MicroStrategy. So I'm not sitting here going, I'm investing in this right now. Okay. So looking at what my allocations were and what I'm at right now, I can give you the viewpoint of how I looked at it. But now, present day, if I were to invest, which in 3 weeks, because of a big windfall, I'm going to be taking that and investing it back into MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about doing. So in a new unit of time, what will I do? So what did I do and what would I do today if I were just investing new money? Okay. Not financial advice, not legal advice, not tax advice, just my opinion. Okay. So when I got involved in MicroStrategy, my allocations at the time were around 80% of Bitcoin and then 20% MicroStrategy. Because of the ROI of MicroStrategy, my position now, if I look at my allocations, I'm roughly about 60% in MicroStrategy. And the good majority rest of it, if I'm looking at my notes here, about 35% Bitcoin. So it's reversed because of the return of MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy I bought early. It just shot up like a rocket. So the returns are insanely good. Okay. So my positions have switched, right? Now, when I allocated into MicroStrategy, I rolled out of Tesla. All right. And I had a big portion of my money in Tesla. And so I rolled that into MicroStrategy with the bet that MicroStrategy will outperform Tesla. It has. It was the right bet. It far outperformed Tesla when I made the roll. And I believe it will outperform Tesla in 2025 by a lot. If Tesla's going to hit 600 in 2025, and Tesla's below 400 right now, and MicroStrategy's at, what did it end today? At 350 something. So I believe that MicroStrategy will far outpace Tesla in 2025. Okay. By a long shot. All right. So with that being said, my allocation, and this is where it gets interesting with my MicroStrategy allocation, and I like to take a little bit of risk on it. So when I look at Bitcoin, if I look at Bitcoin for 2025, my bullish case, I'm expecting around a double. So if it's at 100 right now, if we look at it right now, my prediction is I think we could see a double, or at 102, I think we could see a $200,000 Bitcoin in 2025. So we could see a double. I think if we see a double, and do I think Do I think we'll definitely see 150? I think definitely 150. Would I be kind of disappointed if we just hit 150? I'd be very disappointed. I'd be like, that kind of sucks, right? So I think I'd be happy if we hit 200, and maybe we land on 180 or so. But I think 150 is a conservative prediction. I think 180 is reasonable. I think 200 is bullish. Okay. And I know there's people saying we get 300, 400, 500,000 Bitcoin in 2025. I don't fully see it. But I like to be more conservative and say my bullish case is a little over 200. Okay. My conservative is 150. All right. So if I look at Bitcoin for me being my conservative investment, okay, then I look at MicroStrategy to do a 2x to what Bitcoin does. Right. So if Bitcoin doubles and goes to 200, then I think that MicroStrategy is going to do more than that, right? So Bitcoin goes to 200. I don't think MicroStrategy is then going to, let's say Bitcoin goes from 100K to 200K. I don't personally think that MicroStrategy is just going to double. And when we look at the trend of it over the last year, if you look at the 2024 returns, the 2024 returns in Bitcoin was about 121% in 2024 for Bitcoin. Go back and fact check my numbers. And MicroStrategy returns were over 300%. Right? So in 2024. Okay. So now 2025, you got to look at it in a new unit of time. We obviously know that MicroStrategy's had dips and whatever in 2025, but we're 1 month into 2025. So I think that's why if we get Bitcoin from 100K to 200K, that's a double. MicroStrategy being at 350 right now. What did it finish after hours? 347, 350, call it. So we're not going to get a double at that point. We're not going to get 700. I think we could see MicroStrategy at that point around 1300. That's what I think. Okay. So if Bitcoin breaks 200, my bullish case for MicroStrategy is around 1200 is what I think would happen. All right. So if I'm looking at it in a new unit of time, and this is the bullish case scenario, okay? If I'm looking at a new unit of time, my conservative base case for MicroStrategy is I think we get a double. Because if Bitcoin's going to hit 150,000 conservatively, that's a 50% increase in Bitcoin. We're going to get a double on MicroStrategy, which means MicroStrategy is going to hit 700. That's my conservative case. So if I'm looking at this now, and again, I placed my bets a while ago on this, right? I placed my bets on Bitcoin in early 2018 and aped in November 2023 when I was 30,000 with more money in. So I placed my bets on Bitcoin a while ago. I placed my bets on MicroStrategy in February of 2024, so over a year ago, right? But looking at it now, like my friends who call me, what should I do? What should I buy in? Would I be investing in a new unit of time at this price point at MicroStrategy? And the answer is yes. Because if I believe, and you got to go on what you believe, I'm not giving anybody financial advice. I believe that we will see a $700 MicroStrategy. And the reasoning is simple. Like we hit 530, guys, right? We hit 530 MicroStrategy after hours back in, was it November, October, November, right? And that was after Michael Saylor announced his $42 billion plan, where he's going to buy up $42 billion worth of Bitcoin and 21 billion of where he issues stock and 21 billion through convertible notes. Okay. So we know that he's issued a lot of the stock already. So a big part of the way that MicroStrategy's bought more Bitcoin in the last several months has been through issuing stock. And we know that when he issues stock, it dilutes the shares temporarily. And it's not uncommon for when Michael Saylor issues stock and is like, hey, we're going to issue more stock. Why do they do that? Like, hey, here's more stock. You as a potential shareholder give them money. So then you become a shareholder. And they take your money, they buy more Bitcoin. Okay. So when they issue stock, we know that it temporarily dilutes our shares, right? But we know in doing that, the goal of MicroStrategy is to get us more Bitcoin per share. And this is the most important thing to understand. When he's buying more Bitcoin as shareholders, he's getting us more Bitcoin per share. And we really like that. And it's a really good thing. So even though I think it's 9 weeks in a row now that Michael Saylor has bought every Monday or Sunday night when he buys, and he puts in like, hey, the chart here is looking a little bit thin, or hey, I think we're missing some green dots. That's his bat signal for, hey, I'm about to buy more Bitcoin. I think this was the 9th week in a row where he's consistently bought more Bitcoin. So every time he does it, he dilutes the shares and he buys more Bitcoin, but it gets us more Bitcoin per share, which is what we're interested in. So while there's a dilution short term, meaning it's kind of like printing more money, they print more shares, right? So like if they print more shares, if the pizza pie was this big of shares and they printed more, the pizza pie got bigger. So your share got, your slice got a little bit smaller temporarily. But because he's adding more Bitcoin to your pizza pie, as the Bitcoin value goes up and as Bitcoin goes up in value, your pizza pie, your slice gets richer in Bitcoin. It's like more cheese and more pepperoni and more bacon on your pizza. You're like, wow, I got more toppings of Bitcoin on my MicroStrategy slice. You're happy because you're getting more Bitcoin per share or more Bitcoin per slice of pizza. So it's a very, very, very good thing that he's issuing shares to buy more Bitcoin. It doesn't feel like that short term, but he also does know what he's saying. And if you go back and watch his video, he's talking about, he's very aware that when he does that, that's what happens. And so part of their strategy in 2025 is switching more to the converts, to where they go out. And basically, if you're new to what convertible notes are, basically he goes out to some big investors. He's like, loan me some money. That's all he's saying. Loan me some dough, man. They loan him dough, pizza dough, right? They loan him money. He's like, I'm not going to give you any interest. So it's favorable. It doesn't increase MicroStrategy's expenses at all because he's paying out no interest. And then eventually the dough that they give him that he buys Bitcoin with, they now have an option, the people who lent him the dough, to convert that into stock at a future price. And if they don't convert it into stock at a future price, they just get their dough back. That's how a convertible note works. It's that simple. Big investor loans MicroStrategy money. MicroStrategy takes money, buys Bitcoin, period. Big investor gets money back in the future or converts it into stock. Very simple. So we love this strategy. Like, we love it. We love it. We love what Saylor is doing. Temporarily, if it dilutes the shares, we like long term and over the next 6 months, we want him emptying his ATM at the market. We want him issuing shares at the market, and we want him filling up his treasure chest with Bitcoin. That's what we want as shareholders. And we want him using the convertible notes to buy more Bitcoin. All right. The reason this strategy works for people who thinks like the stock's going to zero, and there's always that point of view of like, oh, it's a bad investment, it's a scam. I hear all kinds of people say different things. The fact that the market is willing to pay more for MicroStrategy, right? That's what's called a premium. So when you hear like premium, it basically means that the market is willing to pay for more than what the stock is actually worth. So it's a sign that people are bullish and they're willing to pay a premium. They're like, we'll pay more for the stock. And many people are still investing into MicroStrategy today. Many of my friends keep calling me, should I get in? When should I get in? I had many of my friends who just invested this week, last week, the prior week. And it's like, what are we doing here? What is this thing? What is MicroStrategy? It's like, great that it's at a premium, because that premium, right, of what the actual stock price of MicroStrategy people think it should be versus what people are paying for it, that's extra money that gets used to buy Bitcoin. And that's why the strategy works, because people are willing to pay a premium for it. And you wouldn't see 150 plus other companies deploying the MicroStrategy playbook if people didn't think it was sound. Okay. So the strategy of issuing shares and getting people to pay a premium and buy more Bitcoin is great. And the strategy of getting loans to buy more Bitcoin is great. That's fundamentally what they're doing. They're creating a Bitcoin war chest, treasury chest, what have you. So when we look at it, we go, why can MicroStrategy go up more than Bitcoin? It's because they're able to use intelligent leverage. So you're like, why would MicroStrategy go up a 2x to Bitcoin? Because they're using intelligent leverage, like I just explained. to actually buy more Bitcoin. Not like they're just taking $1 to go buy Bitcoin, guys. Like we might take $1 to go buy Bitcoin, right? If any of you've ever taken loans to go buy Bitcoin, you're deploying a strategy that MicroStrategy, in fact, uses in concept. Obviously, we don't, you're probably not doing it off your corporation. You don't have people willing to pay a premium. But when you go borrow money to go buy something, it's leverage. No different than somebody who goes and buys real estate. Rather than using their own money, they're borrowing using the bank's money, and they're using leverage to go buy real estate. Leverage is good. Okay. And so the reason that MicroStrategy goes up more than Bitcoin is because they're able to use intelligent leverage. And so the question always becomes from people is like, this is so risky. It's crazy. It's a scam. It's whatever. He's not doing anything different than investors for hundreds of years have been doing in terms of leverage. Like when somebody goes to do real estate, go ask a friend who does real estate and invest in real estate for a living. They borrow money. They buy property. Okay. The property goes up, they take the money out and they buy more property. It's leverage. So I see a lot of times we have people that are losing their marbles going like, how is he doing this? He's not employing anything different from a leverage standpoint that companies haven't been doing for hundreds of years. Okay. And the difference is when Saylor goes to issue shares, right? Like here's more stock to buy. That's what it means, right? Here's more stock. I'm issuing more stock to buy. And somebody goes and buys it and gives them money. He's not taking that money and paying off massive expenses. So like when you see a company like an Apple or a Google or somebody like that who issues more shares, oftentimes they're issuing more shares, right? And they're going to take that money and then they're going to maybe put it into expenses that they have, or they got to invest in some long-term project that's going to take years and years to get a return. Well, Saylor's issuing shares and putting it right into Bitcoin that we know we're in the bull run, guys. We're in the most bullish time in the history of crypto, right? He couldn't have been issuing shares at any better time than now. He couldn't be. So the fact that he's issuing shares and he's borrowing money to buy an asset that we know is going through the roof over the next 6 months, at least I do. It's not like a typical company that issues shares, gets the money. It's going to invest in a project that's going to yield over years and years and years and years. Yeah, might Bitcoin yield over years and years and years and years, but talk about striking while the iron is hot. We know Bitcoin's going up this year. We're about to hit the bull run, right? We're in the bull run. Okay, we're already 2/3 of the way through it. We got maybe a third left. We just got a crypto-friendly administration after the last administration was not crypto-friendly at all. At all. So what Saylor's doing is smart. And the fact that when he issues shares and it does dilute it temporarily versus an Apple or a Google issue shares and use it towards expenses or longer-term projects that aren't going to yield right away. We're talking about a guy who's issuing shares right away, taking the money, buying as much Bitcoin as possible while it's at 100,000. And by the way, their basis is like 62,000 or something in Bitcoin, right? In all the Bitcoin that they bought, it's right around 62,000. So they're in the money by like 70%. Their basis of what they hold Bitcoin as is like an average price of 60,000 of the billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin that they've held. So their average basis is like 60,000 bucks. We're at 102,000. Think he made a good move? Yeah. Right? So point being, if I'm looking at MicroStrategy today for myself, okay, knowing that I can take more risk with current money to put it in because I'm already in massive gains with MicroStrategy and massive gains with Bitcoin because I bought it a long time ago, right? But as I said, in a couple weeks, because I'm having a windfall, I'm going to take some money and I'm going to invest it into MicroStrategy and I'm going to invest it into Bitcoin. Now, my current portfolio, just to break down, the way that I look at MicroStrategy for the risk that I'm willing to take is, as I said, in the beginning of the year, in 2024, I was 20% MicroStrategy, and I was roughly, call it like 70, 80% Bitcoin, okay? Still had a little bit of Tesla. But since MicroStrategy went up so much, my now position is 60% MicroStrategy, and then the rest in Bitcoin and some in Tesla. Okay, but the majority of that in Bitcoin, like 35% of it Bitcoin. Okay, so my portfolio has gone reversed because the gains have been so massive in MicroStrategy. So now if I'm analyzing these 4 things, and I'll tell you in 1 second what I do with MicroStrategy to get more leverage on it, because I like the leverage, and then I'm going to show you a graph and a chart of when I'm looking at it today to make buys, because I am going to be making some additional buys within the next couple weeks. Okay. So I would do it now, but I have a windfall. I have dough coming in. Okay. So, and as soon as that dough lands, I'm going to pull the trigger. So I hope it lands while the price is still down. All right. So with that said, the 60% I have now in MicroStrategy, okay, I hold a portion of that, which is about 12%. Okay. So I have about 12% in MSTU, which is the 2x version of MicroStrategy. All right. So the reason for that is, and play with me a little bit here. You may not believe it, but just play along. This is just my personal view. You can disagree 100%. But I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm like, Bitcoin, I think is going to go to 200K. That's my bullish case. Conservative case, 150. So let's say Bitcoin goes up 50%. Okay. Because MicroStrategy historically goes up 2x of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up 50%, MicroStrategy doubles. So then MicroStrategy would be at 700 sometime in 2025. I think we're going to see a peak maybe around September or something, maybe August, what have you. Okay. So I get a 2x MicroStrategy. But MSTU is designed to go up twice as much as MicroStrategy. So MSTU, if you don't know what it is, it's just some guys got together. We're going to create a fund. The aim of the fund is to get 2x the returns of MicroStrategy. It's called MSTU. Okay. You've heard other funds out there like MSTX as well. There's similar funds that try to get 2x of what MicroStrategy does. Okay. So you got MSTU. So I think that if Bitcoin's going to go up 50%, right, then I'm going to get a double on MicroStrategy. Okay. It's going to double, right? And then if I get a double on my MicroStrategy, then MSTU is going to go up twice the amount of MicroStrategy. So the potential is a 4x on MSTU. So that's how I'm looking at my portfolio of things. So I'm willing. Now, mind you, if you look at the price, let's look at the charts right now. Just show you the charts. If you look at MicroStrategy right now, I'll just draw this out for you. MicroStrategy is like the price point's down here. So if you see the left here, yeah, see my screen. So you got it to close at 347 today, roughly, right? The buy signal came in today for MicroStrategy to buy around 323. This is, or sorry, 327, right? So there's a buy signal that came on based on the charts that I use. And you'll see where the green arrows, you got a green arrow here. You got a yellow line that turns blue. These are the indicators to buy. So the signal came in. So today, if like I had some free cash flow to buy additional MicroStrategy today, and I was looking to invest long term in it, I would have jumped in today at the price point when it was at 325. And then if you look, it's now at 347. So if I'm looking at this and I'm like, listen, like if I had gotten at 325 today, no matter if MicroStrategy goes up to 347, goes down to 300, goes down to 280, what have you, I'm like, it went to 530 in November, man. Right? For me to think like it's not going to go to 530 again, to me is crazy. And then I just think that it's going to hit 700. Like that's conservative. And I think we have a chance of going to 1,000 or 1,300. So if I'm investing today, I'm like, yeah, I'm buying at 325. In fact, many of my friends, one of my friends called me today, bought it at 338. I got him in at 320. Another one of my friends, I got in at 320 something. Some of my friends bought in at 380. Again, I bought in way back when it was super low before the stock split. So I'm in high gains. So I can look at it today and go, hey, yeah, would I buy in at 325 today? Absolutely. with my viewpoint that it's going to 700 and with mine knowing that it already went to 530. Of course I would buy in today. But I would only buy into MicroStrategy with the idea that if I have the stomach for volatility, and if it was my first buy, if I didn't buy into Bitcoin first, I would be like, what is this MicroStrategy thing? Like, people are buying into this. Like, God, can you stomach a 10 or 15% swing? I can. When we see Bitcoin go up or down 10%, to me, it's like waking up and taking a shower in the morning. It's like the daily habit. It's just, I've sat through so many swings of Bitcoin, 10% up and down. I don't flinch, right? So I got used to the volatility first of Bitcoin. And then as I got used to Bitcoin, and then I started getting to MicroStrategy because I understood what they were doing, that volatility has paid off huge for me. So when I rode it all the way up to 530, and then I watched it drop down to 320 today, that doesn't concern me. On paper, do I lose a significant amount of money on paper when that drop happens? Sure. But because my outlook is 700, I cannot see how we're not hitting 700 from my viewpoint. I cannot see at all how we're not getting back to 530. And I think we're going to 1,000 in my bullish case. So for me, I'm just holding. And when new money comes in for me, which is in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to look at where the price point is. I'm going to look at my charts and I'm going to decide when to make the decision. Now, if you're wondering what I use to make decisions, this is TradingView. And then James from Invest Answers, this is his software and a script that I use of his to make decisions on when to buy. And mostly I use this for trading because I do some trading with like 3 or 4% of my money I trade. And I just go in and out of trades for fun. But the great majority of what I do is long-term, okay? So would I buy in at 320? Yes. Would I buy in at 346? Yeah. And the thing is, with MicroStrategy, you just never know like when it's going to just take off. You just don't know. And so are we getting ready? Are we locked and loaded? It's like, yeah, we're getting ready, man. Like something's happening soon. And so could we go on a run like we've seen this stock and shoot up to 400? Absolutely. Could we see it drop down to 300? Sure. So you don't know. The chart is indicating here that we're going on an uptrend right now, but this is just a 10-minute chart. And oops. And so the indication is that we're going on an uptrend. And you know, we'll see where it goes back up to. Okay. So that's MicroStrategy. If I switch over to MSTU, if you guys are all wondering, like, what the hell is this MSTU thing? It's a completely different stock. It's priced completely differently, but you'll look at the trend is very similar, but the price point's different. So if you look at the price point down here, this is the one that trades at 2x of what MicroStrategy trades at. Not trades at. Its goal is to do 2x with MicroStrategy. So again, in recap, if Bitcoin is like does what Bitcoin's going to do, if MicroStrategy typically does about 2x over a long period of time what Bitcoin does, and then if MicroStrategy's MSTU's goal is to do 2x what MicroStrategy does, like double MicroStrategy, you can see that as Bitcoin is the base layer, like Bitcoin does what it does, MicroStrategy I think is going to do 2x what Bitcoin does, and then MSTU's goal is to do 2x of MicroStrategy, which would be a 4x of Bitcoin. Now, if you hold MSTU, it's not meant to be held over the long term. I'm going to hold it. I bought in at $4 and $5. You can see right now it's sitting at $10. I also bought in at $8. So you can see right now the price point of where my arrow is here. It's down. It went up to $10 today, but it was also, there was a buy signal that came in here at $8.74 today for this thing. Okay. In fact, I was hitting my friends up today who were wanting to get into this. I'm like, this is a good time for you to get in at $8.74. One of my friends who also trades this, like he was hitting me up going, hey, I got in at $9. But my other friends that I got into this, I'm like, hey, this is a great time for you to get in at this price. Right. So, and now you can see at $8.70 they bought in, or $8.80, whatever they bought in at. Now it's at $9.94. Last week, this was at $11. And even I bought in a little bit here to trade with at $11, and not $11.80, but $11.50. Okay. But and you can see that trade is in a loss right now. Yeah. But I'm just holding on to it because I know at one point MSTU, my friends, at one point it was at $30 in sometime in November or December. $30. It's at $10 now. Okay. Now, I don't think it's going to do a full double to what MicroStrategy does over if I hold it 4 or 5 months. My plan is with what I hold in MSTU, which is about 12% of my MicroStrategy, I'm going to hold, like I'm holding that percentage of MSTU, and I'm holding it. I'm going to hold it for 4 or 5 months. And over time, it like erodes itself with fees and it doesn't quite do 2x. But even if it does 1.7x of that of MicroStrategy, technically it's going to do like 3.7x of Bitcoin. And am I willing to take that risk? Sure, because I bought it at $4 and $5, and now it's at 10, right? And I bought it at $8. But my big holdings of buy-ins are $4, $5, $6, right around there. My big buy-ins were back then. So I'm already up massively on this. Yeah, makes sense, right? So I'm going to hold it. I'm going to ride it. Do I think this is going to go from $10 right down here, as you see, up to 20? Absolutely. Do I think it'll eventually hit 30? Absolutely. So I'm holding it. And that's what you have. Do you need to have like steel stomach to hold this type of asset? Yeah. Is it stupid to hold it for 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. Like I'm not going to hold this thing for 2 or 3 years. It's a short-term play. I'm holding it for the rocket ride that's going to take place over the next 4, 5, 6 months, and then I'm going to take profits. And I might take some profits along the way as we see it go up to 20 or 30 or whatever, and take out some profits. And the bottom line is it's like a leveraged play, and I'm willing to take a portion of my MicroStrategy holdings, which are still in massive profit, and play with it. So there you go. Okay. So if you want to go get those charts, TradingView, I have no affiliate relationship with them. I just pass on good works. TradingView, and then James at Invest Answers. Those are the charts I'm showing. So I have no credit. I take no credit for those charts whatsoever. Purely, it's Invest Answers and TradingView. Okay. I also have no affiliate relationship with them whatsoever, and have no benefit other than goodwill to say go learn from good people who have these types of softwares to follow. And Invest Answers is a great channel, and James is a great person, and he has great stuff. Okay. So that's the play that that I'm looking at right now. Day down here is asking a good question. When do you sell if things don't go the way you want? I mean, so far, like I plan that for me. I just don't see a universe where we're not going up to 150 Bitcoin this year. I don't see it. So if things don't go the way that I want, and we don't break, if we hover around 150, and I think like we're at the top, then yeah, will I take some profits and take them out? But yeah, remember I bought into Bitcoin. The highest I bought into Bitcoin recently was $30,000 price point. So that would be a 5x for me, right? And I bought into Bitcoin early. My lowest buy into Bitcoin was 3,000. So for me, I don't have a lot of risk on this, because even if I had to sell out at 100,000, I still have made massive profits. Make sense? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. But if I were buying in anew, and I were to buy into Bitcoin now, the only possible way I would look at buying in Bitcoin now, for me, again, not financial advice, would be if I believed it was going to go past 150 this year, or if I had such a strong viewpoint of Bitcoin and the cast iron stomach to hold it for the next 4 years. Do I think Bitcoin is going to go to 1 million? I absolutely 100% do think we will see $1 million Bitcoin sometime in 2030. So will I hold Bitcoin? Yes. Will I take some profits? Yes, I've taken profits over the years. Will I hold MicroStrategy and watch it go up through the roof like I believe it's going to, and watch it go all the way down? Absolutely not. Do I believe MicroStrategy will be in 4 years higher than it is now? Yeah. Do I think MicroStrategy in 4 years will be well over $1,000 and over $2,000? I think absolutely. Do I think we could hit a $1,000 MicroStrategy in 2025? I do. Will I sit on it and watch it go all the way up and potentially go all the way down? Hell no. I will not. Okay. And the MSTU that I'm holding, will I sell 100% of that sucker in 4 to 5 months? 100%. Gone. Out of it. Okay. So that's just the way that I'm looking at it. And I'll take a look and see, like, there are talks of like, if Saylor continues to buy the way that he's buying, which we think he does, if the Congress and the committee that Trump put together comes back. They have 180 days, right? So to come back with this digital stockpile and what it's going to be. If they come back and we hear like, hey, we're aping into Bitcoin and so forth and so on, could the bull run prolong and go into 2026? Yeah. If corporations keep them on buying, could it prolong? Yes. If states, like you look at the map of the United States, we have 15 freaking states already. If you look at that are like pro Bitcoin that want to have strategic Bitcoin reserves. Do I expect that to go from 15 to 20 to 30? Do I think we'll have 30 states in 2025? Yeah, it's just a guesstimate. So you're going to see the map of the U.S. being like, we want strategic Bitcoin reserves. If we see that trend, if the government comes back with a favorable stockpile where Bitcoin is the great majority of it, which I think Bitcoin should be the great majority of it, I don't think we should have other cryptocurrencies as our reserve. A small percentage, yeah, but a large percentage, hell no. Bitcoin should be the great majority of that, 95%, I think, right? So when they come back on that and we continue corporate adoption, and then you look at Larry Fink. I mean, Larry Fink has changed his tune in a positive way. He was saying pension funds and family offices and all of those and individuals should have 1% to 2% of their portfolios in Bitcoin. Now, he was in a recent interview saying between 2% and 5% for some of these larger institutional, whether it's family offices or different funds that manage people's money, like 2% to 5%. So if he keeps pushing that, which they are the largest holder of Bitcoin, and obviously has an agenda to push it, and all those things go in that direction, could we go into 2026 and not have a big drop in 2025? We could. So I will watch to see what happens with Bitcoin to decide what kind of profits I'm going to take in 2025 based on those indicators. Do I think it's likely that we will have a bull run that goes into 2026 at this point? I don't think so, because every time in the past, and I'm just going based on the past, we've had a surge up and a drop down. So should you prepare yourself for a big surge up and a drop down? I think get prepared for that. And that's how I would be making my decisions right now. And I would be looking at everything from my viewpoint, not tax advice, not legal advice, none of that stuff. I'm not giving right now, but from my tax viewpoint, I've been on with my attorneys all morning, my accountants all morning to look at, okay, if I sell this amount, looking at the tax game and all that, and I'm preparing for selling some and looking at the tax game. So I'm preparing for a eventual, hey, we're going to hit the top. The charts are going to go red, and it's going to be like, okay, we need to look at selling some stuff here, and I'm going to take some profits. And if it looks like we have a run and we go into 2026, that would be amazing for the Bitcoin that I hold and some of the MicroStrategy that I hold on to. Be phenomenal. We run in 2026. I'm a happy person. I'm not planning for that right now. Could I change my tune as things change in 2, 3, 4, 5 months? Yes. Okay. What I won't change my tune on is Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. I am bullish on them right now. I continue to be bullish no matter what's happened over the last 24 hours or week or 2 weeks. This is just crypto, guys. And MicroStrategy is not crypto, but they hold Bitcoin. So essentially they're crypto. Okay. So this is just crypto. This is the world. So in a unit of time, if I were making a decision, I were brand new to this, the first thing I would do, I would not jump in and all of a sudden buy MicroStrategy if I didn't understand Bitcoin. Right? Because anybody who's going to look at MicroStrategy go, it's a scam, it's this, it's that. They clearly, one, don't understand leverage that's been used for hundreds of years. And two, they clearly don't understand Bitcoin. Clearly. Okay. So, and number three, they clearly have misinformation being marketed by the media outlets who are famous for doing this. Right. And I won't mention the one right now that just put out is like a bash articles, right, on a MicroStrategy, which is probably not going to be true at all. And just articles to just create FUD in the marketplace. And to me, that's an attack by the media on a good company that's doing good things that's good for the public. And it's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing to spread misinformation like that. Okay. So I think that we have a very, very, very good 2025 coming. And so I would look at Bitcoin first. I would then look at MicroStrategy second. And then if you're a bullish investor who likes to play with some money and play with profits, because the great majority of everything I put in MSTU, which is a 2x version of MicroStrategy, 85-90% of that's profits. So it's just profits. Okay. So I'm willing to play with profits and potentially get a 4x to what Bitcoin would do. So I could have 25% less in that investment. And essentially, like, here's the math. If I had $100,000 in Bitcoin, right, and 25,000 in MSTU, with $25,000 in MSTU, I could potentially do what Bitcoin does with 100,000. I could potentially get a 4x. And so, take into account fees, and if you hold it for months and months at a time, they're probably not going to do a 4x. Maybe it's a 3.6x or whatever. I'll take that bet, particularly on profits. But I would definitely not recommend it. It is super risky. People who buy into this now, if MicroStrategy goes down 50%, then that could lose 100%. You could lose all your money. And it is not a prudent thing for somebody to do who doesn't know what they're doing with this at all. Okay. And then you got to look at your risk volatility. And then in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the S&P 500, the volatility on that is like a 15. Bitcoin's volatility is like a 60, and MicroStrategy's volatility is like a 90. So depending on your risk preference, you just have to decide for yourself and make your own opinions, because I would never give anybody advice on it. Just make your own opinions on like what volatility are you willing to stomach. And it's not fun when you see something go all the way up and all the way down. Yeah, do I believe in the 4-year cycle? Daniel's asking. Absolutely, I do. I do believe in the 4-year cycle. I've watched it. I've lived through it. I've lived through it before with a lot of money in it. I've watched it go up. I've watched it go down. I've taken profits during it. I've held on to a big portion during it. And it was like holding it during that time and watching it, and just watching it sit there. It wasn't a good feeling for a couple of years, even though you know it's going back up. It's just not a good feeling. But am I going to do it again? Yeah, I'm going to hold on. I'm not going to sell all my Bitcoin. So I'm going to hold on. I'm going to watch it happen again. So it's kind of like you have to have a longer term time horizon when you're investing in Bitcoin, and you have to have a longer term time horizon when you're investing in MicroStrategy, except when you're doing it during the bull run, and you're like, hey, I want to ride this sucker up and I want to get out. And would one who holds MicroStrategy, if I were to hold it over 4 years, would it be higher than it is now in 4 years? I think 100%. I'm willing to take that bet to say 99.99%. I believe it will be higher 4 years from now than it is today. I'm putting that there, and we'll go back and watch this video because I just know it will. But am I willing to watch a fortune go up and then come all the way down without taking profits? No. Especially based on your tax jurisdiction, if you've held it for more than 12 months like I have. Do I want to watch it go up and then watch it go down 70% potentially? Because if Bitcoin goes down 35%, MicroStrategy is going to dump 60-70%, guys. So what are the risks of it? Those are the risks you face, and you have to plan the top of it, and you have to be like, could I miss the top? And then just like miss the peak of it and not sell out at the top? I could, and I could make a mistake. It's possible, So anyway, that's my perspective. If you're wondering what percent, because I said 60% MicroStrategy, which includes my portion in MSTU, the 2x, which is about 12% of it, and then I have 35% Bitcoin, and then I have the rest in Tesla, and then I trade with some extra money. Do I believe in Tesla long term? Absolutely. Will I roll profits into Tesla? Yes, I will. So I will just take a look at what's going to happen in 2025. I've been in Tesla since 2017, and I rolled almost all of my Tesla into MicroStrategy back in 2024 in February. So do I believe in Tesla? Yeah. And did I know that this is the better play? 100%. MicroStrategy is incredibly volatile. There's nobody doing what they're doing in the marketplace at their level. At this point, they own almost 2% of the Bitcoin supply. It is a rocket ship. It is a freaking, you have an unbelievable leader behind it. I just think this guy is an extraordinary leader. His resolve and his commitment to just continue to buy Bitcoin and continue to press forward. And we already watched him go through a drop in the bull run of 70 or 80% of Bitcoin down and still hold and still not sell and still stay true to his word. I mean, I don't know. He's already passed the test. I think he'll pass it again. So I admire greatly what Michael Saylor's done. And I think he's setting the trend for the future. And I was just on the phone with my accountant and we were talking. I always like to ask people's philosophy. So it's like, dude, like when you look at all these investment vehicles out here, I said, let's just have a straight conversation. You're not my investment guy. I'm my investment guy. But let's just look, right? Like Listen, I used to be in the life insurance business. I have a big life insurance policy. What do you think I'm emptying out to put into Microstrategy? My life insurance policy. Do I think that it was, when I look at today's vehicles of Bitcoin and crypto or whatever, do I think micro life insurance is completely inferior to the vehicles that we have today? Completely. Completely. When I look at the printing of the money supply, I'm like, I'm gonna let my money sit in this and potentially get me, 7-8% a year and keep up the pace with the printing of money. Like, my life insurance policy will literally, like, it's flying into a 7% money printing headwind. Like, really? It's gonna okay, even if it goes up 6% with dividends or whatever, so if it goes up, I'm gonna make 6% on my life insurance, and the money printing is gonna be 6%. I'm gonna make no progress, zero. So I thought that was a good decision when I made that years ago. Trusts, those of you who are high net worth who play the tax game with trust, and you have charitable intent. I have still not found a trust to be a better deal, even though I have them, than investing the money and then paying the local capital gains tax. I'm going through it right now. I'm like, dude, really? Like, I've been playing this game for years, and I'm like, really? Like, you constantly have the IRS up your ass. You have fees that are out the wazoo. You have the uncertainty of, is the new administration going to come in and change the laws? Like, do you want to play that game? I'm like, at this point, I'm like, this year, you know what? I'm just going to sell and pay the long-term capital gains tax, period. Okay. So life insurance policies, trusts, charitable giving. And I'm a huge giver of charity. I mean, I got my trophy behind me for the charities that I've given. My donations, I just got an award in London for my donations to Drug Free World, Citizens Commission of Human Rights. Like, I'm a big charitable giver. Okay. So, but like, if you're looking at some of these tax strategies that are out there, fees are so high when you're doing this stuff with legal counsel. If you're looking to invest in mutual funds, the fees are high, man. The fund manager fees, like, life insurance policies have huge fees. And it's like, what are you left with? Bonds are an awful, terrible, disgusting, pathetic investment. Like, that's just my viewpoint. Like, I'm going to take 5% when they print 7% more money. Like, what do you do, man? This was the conversation we were having, me and my accountant, after I'd just been on the phone with countless numbers of attorneys, right? About trust law and things. I'm like, dude, really? And so at the end of the day, I'm like, where does one put their money today? Even the elite and the rich, like, there isn't something to do that makes sense. There's not. So I'm looking, I'm like, where do you go? And I'm going to put my hard-earned money in the S&P 500 that averaged over the last 30 years, 14%. Like, really? Is that what my net gain at the end of the day is going to be? On a conservative year, we print 7% more money. On a conservative year, we've been doing it for the last 100 years, guys. Every year, I average 6.57% more money printed. During COVID, it was like 40 or 50% over a couple year period, 40 to 50% increases. Like a 14, 15% average increase over a couple years. Then you're making no money on the S&P. So it's like, I don't know. So when I look at, I shouldn't say I don't know. I'll answer this question in a second from Kaysen. Of any idea what Bitcoin will drop to when it does drop drastically? I'll answer that in 1 second. But like, if you look at, like, what is the risky investment today? Like, bonds, you're losing money. You're just losing money. It appears you're getting ahead at 4 or 5%, but when you have printing of money at 7%, you're a negative 3%. The S&P 500, on a good year of money printing, 7% money printing, 14% S&P, 14 minus 7, you're getting ahead by 7%. I'd rather invest in my businesses and put the money back into my businesses because I can make more than 7%. So why would I put money in the S&P? Life insurance policies, you got to fund these things for 5 years before you even get any of your money back. So you're funding these things. And trust me, I used to be in the business for 7 or 8 years. Okay. I was in the financial business for a decade. Right. And it's like, great, I'm going to fund this thing for all these years. And then finally, after 5 years, I'm going to break even on what I put in, while I've been losing 7% every year. that I've been putting in because of the printing of money. So the 500,000 I did put in, it looks like I got all my money back. I haven't earned anything inside the life insurance policy. Now I finally got it back, my principal. But I every year it's cost me 7%, 7%, 7%. So 5 years later, I'm negative 35%. Like, really? Like, this is the best we got, dude? Come on, man. It's the best we got? Is it really? Is this the best the financial institutions can come up with? You wonder why nobody, virtually nobody, the great majority of people who are educated financially don't trust these institutions. Because what is there to trust? Right? So the great majority of them, I don't trust. Are there some that are doing good things? Are there some advisors that have their head on their shoulders? Are there some that are in the know? Absolutely. The great majority? No. Because I lived it and breathed it for a decade, and I watched it, and I looked into the prospectuses, and I read the fund fees. I'm like, how does this make any sense? I don't understand. I don't get it. But this is the best we got. This is the best that's out there. That was what was in my purview. Okay, this is the best we got. I guess this is the best we got. It was 21, 22, right, when I was doing this. So what do you got then? And so when people look at this and go, okay, I'd rather be conservative and not take risk and put my money in bonds, you're actually taking risk by putting your money in bonds because you're losing money every year. And it's fine. Like I was sitting with one of my relatives, they're like, for people like us that are older, it's fine for us to be in bonds and more conservative things. I get it. I get the viewpoint. It's cool. Everybody has their own opinion. It's cool. But when somebody has a broader viewpoint of what's really going on, right? Like if they really understood, they'd be like, yeah, well, maybe a portion of your portfolio allocation should be looking at an asset, so to speak, or a commodity like Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe it's 70, if you're 75 years old and maybe, yeah, sure, I get it. I don't want to risk my whole portfolio in Bitcoin. I totally get that. It would be devastating if you had your money in Bitcoin and went up and then it dropped down to $60,000. You'd be devastated. It makes sense. But over the long term, if you're going to hold it and you're looking at your retirement over a 20-year time horizon, or you're looking to pass something on to your kids, might it make sense for a 5% allocation? Even if you didn't understand that much about it, but you understood the basic principles? Sure, absolutely. So the point is, I think every person in the US and around the world needs to be doing better by looking at how can they actually mitigate the risk of these assets that literally suck away your money through fees, suck away your money through the printing of money, and suck away your money overall, because fees kill your ROI over time. I mean, take $100,000, put it into a calculator at 10%, then take the same $100,000 and put it into a calculator at 10%, and do it over a 10-year period, a 20-year period, and look at a 1% management fee. It destroys your portfolio, guys. Okay? So the new education, the new era, present time is Bitcoin. Present time is looking at things that have a future like MicroStrategy. I'm not saying put your money in there. I'm just saying look, right? And then the future is companies that are adopting Bitcoin as their strategic reserves, states that are adopting Bitcoin as their strategic reserves. It is the future of our world, and we will be the leader in the US, and countries and other countries around the world will follow suit. And it'll be an AI and crypto capital around the world. We will be. Period. And other nations can jump in, like El Salvador has been so smart, and Bhutan has been so smart, and other nations that are considering it, like France is considering it too, because Michael Saylor met with them. They will get smart and they will catch on board, and you will see a decade from now, we will look back and like Bitcoin will be synonymous with investing. It'll be just the thing that you do. And 4 years from now, it'll even be more the thing that you do, that like one will just put money into Bitcoin like they would just, the S&P 500 is just like, yeah, I'll put my money in the S&P. Everybody gets it because it's been marketed over and over again by investment advisors and people who just talk about the S&P, and they compare other investments to the S&P so people know the S&P. And the more people talk about Bitcoin, Bitcoin will be that. It will be like the new S&P, except it will do better than the S&P. And as Michael Saylor talks about, the S&P doing 14% over 30 years, Bitcoin will probably over the next 20 years do 29% on average a year. In this next year, it will do more than 29%. Okay. And over the last 12 or 14 years or 16 years, it's done more than an average of 29%. But over time, as it becomes a larger asset and its market cap becomes higher, meaning as a lot more money goes into Bitcoin, right, you're not going to see as much volatility. It'll become more of a mainstream asset that doesn't have the swings up and downs, but it'll still have a great return over time of maybe 29%, 30% a year, right? So it is the future. It is here now. And for those people who are futuristic and are looking in the future and not in the sinking ship, which is the old economy and old finance and old institutions and old life insurance and old investment managers and old, doesn't mean old in age. It means just old mindsets, because there's plenty of people. My 80-year-old stepfather owns Bitcoin. Okay. Because we told him buy Bitcoin. Okay. So these are the things that are happening, and this is what's going on. Where do I think Bitcoin could drop back down to? Is it possible we run up to 200? Is it possible we run up to 150 and drop down to 60,000? Yeah, it could totally happen. You know, it's possible we run up to 200 and drop down to 100,000. Yeah, could happen. You know, I don't have a crystal ball on this. I don't know. I can just make predictions and speculations. We did drop 80% in the last bull run, guys. Do the math to fact check me, but my recollection of living through it, we went up as high as 67,000. Was that the high, or was it 69? I think 69,000 was the high. Either way, maybe it was 67,000. So 67,000 or 69, and then we dropped down to 15. It was an 80% drop. Okay, so that's a big drop. And to think that we are immune to that right now, I know that the hope is great, but I'm going to give you the other viewpoint of it, even though I'm so bullish. The other viewpoint, and the responsible viewpoint, is to look at the fact that we could go down. You know, do I think it's going to be 80% again? No. Is it possible? Yeah, it is possible. Do I think we might have a drop more like 40 or 50%? Yeah. When we hit the high, yeah. So that means if we go to 150, we could go back down to 90. You know, if we have a 40% drop, if we have a 50% drop, we go back down to 75. Right? So just think with that. And if I was investing in Bitcoin today, I have two different viewpoints, right? On MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, I would be looking at it to hold it for 4 years and take some profits as we peak this year. But I would be looking at, if I'm buying it at 100 grand, I'm looking at this asset as, I believe in this asset. I'm investing in this for the long term. This is going to be the thing that I hold for my retirement. This is the thing where I believe in 2028 bull run, Bitcoin could be 250, 500,000. And I would be looking at, I'm going to hold a portion of my Bitcoin up into 2028. That's how I'd be looking if I were investing today. But I would also be looking at investing today. If I'm buying in today, I wouldn't mind taking profits when this thing shoots up to 150, 180, 200, whatever you believe it's going to be. But I wouldn't be selling it all if I was investing today, because I'd be like, hey, I'm buying it at 100,000. I know it's a long-term play. I'm not going to sell it all, even when it goes to 180 or 150. I'm going to take some profits. Maybe I take out all my principal and I let my profits ride, you know? But just in closing, just be prepared. And for those of you who hold MicroStrategy, and that's me included, be prepared. Like, you're going to see like a run up, and we could have an enormous freaking drop. So they are two different vehicles. One has ridiculously more volatility than Bitcoin. And if you're looking at a 2025 play, you got to be super responsible. You got to be looking at this thing every day. You got to know a lot about it. And you got to have your play in mind of, like, based on today's viewpoint, my play is sometime around June, July-ish, whatever, September maybe, I'm looking at unloading and holding a little bit of it. Okay? Doesn't mean I don't believe in it. Doesn't mean I don't think it's going to be up 4 years from now. You just got to have a cast iron stomach, man, to hold that thing and watch it go up and potentially go down 80%. And I don't know. I don't have that. I don't. I have it for Bitcoin. I don't have it for MicroStrategy. I don't want to lose. I don't want to watch a large percentage of money go away. I want to be smart, take some profits, pay my long-term capital gains, be happy with it, be extremely happy with it, and then let some ride for the long term. All right. Okay. Hope this serves you. That's what I'm thinking. Somebody says, I'm thinking about adding more to it. It goes under 300. Yeah. Daniel's saying that. I just think you have to look at what you believe, right? Like, I would not invest based on what I believe, and I would not invest based on what you believe. Like, you need to invest based on what you believe, getting educated on it. And I'm not giving you investment advice or tax advice or legal advice. You just need to look at it from your own viewpoint and go, what do I believe with this? And what do I believe it's going to hit, and make decisions according to that. For some of you, it's like, yeah, I'm going to wait till MicroStrategy. If it ever goes back below 300, I'm going to wait for it to drop then, because your viewpoint might be, I don't think we're going to see MicroStrategy hit 380 or 390 again. So you want to wait for it to drop below 300 or whatever, you know? For those of you like who think it's going to go to 530, which is what its high was, let me just say this. If I was buying in today at 350 and I knew it already went to 530, would I buy in at a 350 price point? Yes, I would. So that's just my viewpoint. So there you have it. Okay. Hope it helps you. Again, in summary, Bitcoin, I hold MicroStrategy. I hold a little bit of MSTU because I think MSTU, which is a 2x version of MicroStrategy, it'll do about 3.5x what Bitcoin does. Is it extremely risky? Yeah. But am I playing with profits? Yes. And then I still hold some Tesla, some forms of Tesla. I play a little. Anyway, Tesla's a whole nother conversation, but I do hold some Tesla. So that is that's the idea for today. So I hope it helps you. Just wanted to give a perspective that's kind of real life. I know we can sometimes get into a lot of theory of like, here's what's happening with MicroStrategy. Here's what's going on with Bitcoin, and we can look at day to day, which certainly I report on the news and what's happening. But I think the most important thing is to look at this today from what's going to happen in the next 5 to 6 months. What do I believe is going to happen, and how do I get enough education and knowledge on the things that I'm investing in to make the best educated prediction of what's going to happen for me, and then make the best decision of when to take profits on it, or the best decision for you of when to hold on it. And that's the best we can do, is get educated and get knowledge. And the certainty comes from knowledge. That's it. Comes from knowledge. And for me, I've got 1,000 hours at a minimum into Bitcoin. So the understanding and knowledge I have on Bitcoin as well as MicroStrategy is high. So I have a high degree of certainty in it, high degree. And so one will have more certainty the more knowledge they have. And the more knowledge they have, it's easier to take responsibility for the decisions that you want to make. And I think that's the best thing. And I think the problem in the financial world is that a lot of people give people their money and say, you make the decisions. And I'm never, ever, ever in a million years, ever again, going to give my money to somebody else and say, you make the decisions, ever. It will never happen, because I believe that I can be the best steward of my assets. I believe I have the most knowledge. I'm more knowledgeable than 99.9% of the financial advisors out there. And I just believe in making my own financial decisions. So question is, what do you believe? And certainly one who gives their assets over to another person, I think there is a lack of responsibility to just give full control to somebody else to make the decisions on it. But I do understand that one would want guidance if they don't have a lot of knowledge in the financial area. Why would I make decisions if I have 0% knowledge? So it does make sense to go to an advisor who knows what they're doing and vet them and see if they know what they're doing. And then just go, hey, do I believe this person can guide me? Because I don't know a lot about this. And I do understand that viewpoint 100%. But I think each person should get educated and knowledgeable. And even if you watch 20 minutes a day and you learn, I think you'll have a better understanding of the financial world in 20 minutes a day at the end of 6 months than 99% of the financial advisors on the planet. Because we are in a new world and we are in a new economy, and the vehicles that worked in the past, look at the state of worth $36 trillion in debt in the US. The great majority of people are in credit card debt in the United States, paying 28% credit card debt. Okay. And we are not in a good state financially as a nation. So if we were in such a good state and the financial vehicles that we had were so good, then why is the majority of the nation in debt or struggling? We have to ask that question. And if the vehicles are so good and they're so sound and 10% works over time, why is it not working for people? Why? And that was the bill of goods that was sold to people, 20 years ago when I started in the financial business. That's what I was told. 10% over time is a good return. Who says? Who says? The financial institution who wants to take my money and make 100% and 300% and 500% and give me 10%? You want to take my money and make 100% and give me 10% of it? Like, who would do that business deal ever? Period, ever. Who would? Would you? No, but that's what's marketed to you. You do 10%. That's great. Who's marketing that to you? The financial institutions who are in bed with the banks, and the banks who are in bed with the Fed. Like, who's marketing that to you? Right? So what my benefit of sharing this with you right now is to help you. That's it. So I hope it serves you. I love sharing this. This is a passion of mine. I love getting text messages from my friends. You can even see in my company, only with contractors who are like, hey, what is that thing you're talking about in MicroStrategy? I can't talk about with employees. What is that thing you're talking about? And I share with them, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm doing it. You got to decide what you're doing. I love helping somebody get ahead. Love it. Because I've just seen too much where people just don't get good advice on financial instruments, man. Okay. And I'm not saying that this is the right move for you. I'm just saying for me, this is the right move. And for my friends that are around me who want to learn about it, I want to help them make the moves that they think are right for them. Okay. Hope it serves you. See you on the flip side. I don't know how many MicroStrategy splits we're going to get on that, Edward. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. So, but anyway, it's a fun game, you know, and you guys are awesome. And I think it's so cool that you guys are, you know, here and participating. I'm grateful to have people to share this with because it's a passion and it makes my life better and it makes me happy. And thank you for being here to improve my life. And I hope that I can improve your life. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And not financial advice, not legal advice, not tax advice, not investment advice, none of it. Just giving you some education. Okay. Hope it serves you. See you soon.